Set the scene for us here, because a huge turnaround from a $22 million deficit to a $1 million surplus in 1 year. A lot of people couldn't believe it.
Well, when it comes to the Met's budget, the main source of expenses is the productions. Main source of income is not box office, but rather individual contributions. So that deficit, the real cause of that was a drop-off of $15 million in donations. What we see in this positive story that the Met is telling now, which it's a good thing it is, because it was really at a point, there's been a lot of controversy about expenses there, about Gelb's compensation. Peter Gelb is the head of the Met. And also, it went through very difficult union negotiations where basically the opera demanded that the unions take pay cuts.
Right, a lot of controversy.
Because of rising expenses. On the expenses side, it has to do with productions.
A lot of new productions, newfangled ones that perhaps some of the old guard didn't appreciate.
That's exactly right. And this comes down to a question of donor confidence. So for the Met to be able to say after a lot of strum and drang that there's a 1 million surplus is hopefully sending a message that donors have returned to believe in the future of the Met, to believe in the artistic integrity of what's going to be put on there, and will support some of Peter Gelb's plans. He's now come up with a whole new set of ideas for the Met as he enters his 10th season as general manager.
So, Mark, this strengthens Peter Gelb's hand, does it? I mean, it gives him more room to explore what he wants to do creatively in terms of new productions.
Well, you know, Peter has done a great job in bringing new productions to the stage of the Met, and this season is off to a strong start with a wonderful opening night Otello, and then a marvelous Trovatore that I happened to see last night. Certainly, having a balanced budget is great for the company. It's great for the entire opera industry. The Metropolitan Opera is by far our largest and most complex opera company in the country, if not in the world. So if the Met has a positive year financially, it shows us that you can balance strong business practices with great art.
What does this mean for smaller opera companies?
Well, it's hard for smaller opera companies really to relate to it. The Metropolitan Opera is the largest company by a factor of 4, and the next two largest opera companies, the ones in San Francisco and Chicago, are twice the size of any smaller companies than that. So many of our small companies really don't have the kinds of choices the Met has. They can't make the choices of repertoire, scale of production, international celebrities. Our smaller companies are accustomed to living on a very, very tight budget.
Right, absolutely. And just full disclosure here, Bloomberg LP, the parent company of Bloomberg Television, sponsors the Met Live in HD series. We just want to make sure that we made that very clear. Amanda, back over to you here. In terms of the customer experience, we talked about how that might anger some of the old guard. Charitable contributions is critical here for the Met and for so many of the arts programs. Is that a sustainable business model with the changing demographics, with the aging society?
Well, it's been a business model since the beginning of opera, because it was patrons that made this art form possible, and we see that with classical music as well. We do see that first-time audience is actually up at the Met, people who've never been to the opera before, so that's a good sign. Putting art in movie theaters or on Roku, which the Met did this summer, also means that it introduces it to more people.
So using different platforms, right?
Different platforms. The better exposure the opera has, the bigger exposure, the better. Now, when it comes, so donations can come in small amounts from a 30-year-old, and of course, when you're adding up maybe to $150 million in donations, you probably depend on some very big pockets. The Met has traditionally had a lot of those, and many of them are in finance. And I would say for the Met, one of its plans to sort of shore up the future is to increase its endowment.
Right.
It's on a campaign to build it. It's looking to get $600 million in part to do that in the next few years. And that's critical. So financiers need to increase returns for the endowment.
As always.
Keep up their investments while at the same time keeping track of where the costs are cut.
Mark, final question for you. You've said that the Met would be well served by focusing on the customer experience. How has the customer experience changed in the last 2 years?
Well, in the last 2 years, I'd take a longer view of that. In the last number of years, it is becoming increasingly difficult for busy people to leave the office early, to find time for dinner before a performance or after a performance, and to be out late at night on a weeknight. One of the ideas that Peter has floated is a Sunday matinee to supplement the Saturday matinee, which would give us 2 performances a week during the day when people could have a brunch before, dinner afterward. So making it easy for people to enjoy the art form they love, I think, is key to retaining audiences in the future.
And final question, which show should people watch? Which production?
Oh, my goodness. Right now, I can recommend the Otello and the Trovatore. They're both wonderful productions.
All right.